From tracking Nike shoes to mysterious pink blobs, here are 8 of the weirdest things ever found floating in the oceans. Number 8. 900406. The ocean's currents can act in some weird ways, and just exactly how they work is still somewhat of a mystery to modern-day scientists. For years, though, researchers have been tracking a certain number of items to monitor the currents, and what they are might surprise you. In the 1990s, a large shipment of Nike shoes was accidentally dropped from a cargo ship and into the deep waters of the ocean. While a big loss for the company that manufactured the shoes, this accident was a big break for scientists. It turns out that each of the Nike shoes of the some 80,000 that were lost all carried the same serial code printed on them. The code that was printed on the shoes was 900406. This distinct marking has allowed ocean experts to track the movements of the shoes for years, allowing them to better understand how and where different underwater currents move and interact with one another. Nike might have lost a lot of money when they lost their shoes, but they've certainly helped advance the sciences a bit. I wonder if they got to write the loss off on their tax returns. Number 7. Bananas for everyone. Most of us imagine seashells when we think about walking along our local beach lines, or maybe sharks if one is a bit more cautious around water. However, sometimes something entirely unexpected makes its way onto shore. These things range from the odd to the mysterious to the comical. In November of 2007, an island in the Dutch North Sea was treated to a rare and weird kind of tide washing in. The waves came in one morning, and the next thing the people of Terschelling Island knew, there were bananas all over their beach. Thousands of green, unripe fruit littered the sand, attracting a large number of the nearby town citizens to collect and scavenge the unexpected haul of produce. There were just far too many bananas for anyone to know what to do with them. Some of the locals even suggested sending them to the local zoos. As weird as this occurrence might sound, the citizens of Terschelling are actually used to the contents of random lost shipping containers washing up on their home's doorstep. Sweaters, shoes, and hundreds of children's toys are all examples of the type of things that have washed up on the Dutch island. Plenty of things floating around their waters. Number 6. Human-sized fish. Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, and the list of cryptids go on. For thousands of years, humanity has whispered about things hiding in the shadows that mainstream science has yet to recognize. Many believers in these shadowy creatures even point to seemingly extinct animals as proof that monstrous beings have existed at one time and might still survive somewhere unseen even today. Perhaps nowhere is the existence of extinct creatures more possible than in the mostly unexplored seas and oceans of the world. Just around 98% of the Earth's waters are unexplored, unmapped, and undocumented in any kind of detail, leading to the question of just what might be lurking down under the deep blue waves that crash off our safe shores. Despite us only having explored around 2% of the water in the world, most experts still doubt the existence of modern underwater prehistoric or cryptid creatures. In 1938, however, a fish called a coelacanth that can grow to be the size of a large human was discovered off the coast of South Africa. This fish was previously thought to have gone extinct up to 66 million years prior to its rediscovery, and yet we found it living right under our noses. Wonder what else is hiding in plain sight? Number 5. A rotting ball. In August of 2016, a 36-year-old man named Mark Watkins was fishing with his aging father in the waters off the western coast of Australia. As their boat pushed them through the waters, the two fishermen never expected to stumble upon a large, floating pink blob that was absolutely gigantic. The alien blob of pink and white seemed bloated and full of air. Upon first inspection, Mr. Watkins and his father at first thought that it was a hot air balloon or even a weird kind of upturned boat. The fishermen's curiosity got the best of them, so they inspected it further. When they got closer to the floating white ball, the two discovered that flippers were attached to the large object, and the smell was terrible. Once they had gotten close enough, the two experienced fishermen realized and identified the alien-looking ball as the extremely bloated carcass of a humpback whale. When the two men returned to the shore after taking pictures of the dead whale, they were able to watch the deceased animal's body deflate and get eaten by sharks. If you see a decomposed and bloated whale, you are supposed to stand back. Apparently, they're known to blow. Number 4. The first computer. The history of the modern computer is an interesting interweaving tale of the innovation and discovery of an invention that would one day link almost every corner of the world together as one. In 1822, Charles Babbage created the first real analog computer that resembled a modern-day design. Babbage called this machine the difference engine, and it was capable of carrying out various mathematical calculations. The first digital computer is recognized by many to have been created at Iowa State University in 1942. However, even though modern computers have only been around for the past 100 years or so, it turns out that man has been trying to create automated machines for a lot longer than we once thought. In 1901, near the coast of the Greek island of Antikythera, divers discovered an ancient Greek analog computer that has come to be known as the Antikythera machine. Despite having been created somewhere around 150 to 100 BC, the Antikythera machine is actually about as complicated as the most advanced of 18th century clockwork devices. Even more interestingly, the machine is very capable of computing, predicting, and tracking complex astrological happenings and movements. Turns out the ancients might have actually been a step ahead. Number 3. The world's oldest beings. In mid-2012, a team of scientists that were researching the Pacific Ocean discovered something shocking. After removing sediment and soil samples from the ocean floor, the researchers discovered that there was less oxygen than there should have been trapped in the built-up sediment of the seabed. The earth at the bottom of the oceans has actually been collecting for hundreds of years, piling on top of itself and trapping not only animal remains and minerals, but also the air that we breathe as well. The researchers who discovered the lack of oxygen within the soil had actually seen cases where the earth was lacking air before. It turns out that it's not that uncommon for ocean sediment to be lacking oxygen because microscopic organisms that live within the soil feed on the air in order to stay alive. However, the particular team of researchers that we mentioned actually discovered a number of microbes that were living off of even less air than what's normal for microorganisms of their variety. These microbes were barely breathing and turned out to have a metabolism that was so slow that it had kept them alive for over 86 million years, making those microbes the oldest living things on the planet. Number 2. North Carolina Doritos. In 2006, a tractor-trailer-sized shipping container slipped off of its ship and floated openly in the middle of the Atlantic. The container floated and swirled in the ocean for a number of days before it approached dangerously close to the shores of Cape Hatteras, North Carolina. It was here that a number of charter boat captains who were fishing for some striped bass discovered the container and opened it up to see what they could snag for themselves. What was inside the container, you might ask? Well, lots and lots of Doritos! The boat captains reportedly took a good amount of the container contents for themselves. Upon being asked about the quality of the day's haul by a friend who had called from the mainland, one of the fishing captains is even quoted as having said, "I got 2 stripers and 35 bags of Doritos." Now, not all of the shipping containers haul was grabbed up by the boating captains, however. A large number of Dorito bags actually did make their way to nearby shores, where the residents of the nearby beaches collected and enjoyed salvaging whatever they could. Doritos for everyone! Number 1. Giant Lego Man. What if I told you that there were cases of almost identical, massive Lego Man dolls washing up around the shores of the world for the past 10 years? Well, it's happening, people. In 2007, the first of these giant Lego figurines, nicknamed Ego Leonard, washed up on the shores of Zandvoort in the Netherlands. A year later, another Ego Leonard made his way onto the beachline of Brighton in the United Kingdom. Fast forward to 2011, and one of the Leonard dolls made national headlines in the US when it washed up on the coast of Florida. Some astute critics suggested that the doll's appearance might have been making a marketing stunt for the recent opening of a Lego-themed park in the area near where the Florida-based doll washed up. However, the Lego company denied this allegation. Surprisingly, a local Florida newspaper actually claimed to have emailed the statue, which had reportedly responded by saying that it had been a hell of a swim out to Florida, but that it was enjoying the friendly people and would stay a while. These aren't the only quotes that are attributed to Mr. Leonard, however, as every single one of the dolls have all the phrase, "No real than you are," printed on their chest, and some have had numbers emblazoned on their back. As of 2017, the last Ego Leonard appearance was in 2015 in the Austrian city of Linz. No one knows who's making these sculptures, but some newspapers suggest that the Dutch artist Leon Kier, who has claimed to be a close friend of Ego Leonard, is responsible for the giant Lego men. One thing's for sure, from the UK and US to Austria and Japan, Ego is really getting around. They should put a GPS tracker on that thing if they haven't already. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and click here for more videos. See you next time. Bye, everyone.